Blake, are you signed up for the early service?
Ross, I am the early service.
Welcome to the Church Gear Podcast, where we pull the tech out of the booth and onto the stage to share the most outlandish stories and hidden wisdom from the tech trenches. And now, here are your hosts.
This is your co-host, Blake, who actually just sends the early service, and I'm here with Ross, who actually is the early service himself. Ross, welcome to the show. How does it feel to finally replace Toby in yet another area of his company?
Well, I'll tell you, Blake, it feels fantastic. And Apparently, Toby's kids like me more than him.
Yeah, let's put that on the airwaves.
Yeah. There was a Zoom message in our Church Gear all chat saying that Toby, he said that his kids like me better.
So Toby was apparently bragging about our 3,500 Instagram followers, which I got to tell you, that's not the number at which you start bragging.
Yeah, no.
Not yet.
Not yet.
And he was telling him, he's like, yeah, people think I'm cool. Well, and then Titus goes, no, Dad, they think Ross is cool. So to get burned by your 10-year-old son, that's so brutal.
Hey, it's good to have at least one person tell me that I'm cool.
Yeah, and it's probably good to keep one person, keeping Toby humble. So as you can tell, Ross is here with me this week. We are going to do, this is the intro for our first episode that we recorded at FILO. We didn't do an intro story because people got tight schedules, so we have to record pretty quick with them. So the intro story is going to come from us this week and next week, and then the episodes following this, the bulk of this episode is going to be our FILO episode that we recorded live. So Ross, what are you here to tell me about this time?
I'm here to talk about the early service at churchgear.com.
Ross, we should just get that tattooed on your forearm or something.
Yeah, so I always remember about it.
How much to sign up for the early service at churchgear.com on your forearm?
10% of all items sold on the early service.
Oh, wow. Well, you know what?
That's actually pretty good incentive.
That would be pretty nice. Do that for a year. Because I was going to joke 10 grand, but if you did that for a year, I don't know, maybe 100,000.
Sell a couple SSLs.
Yeah, you probably get at least 50K off of that.
Yeah, there you go.
Now we need to Google how much does it cost to remove a tattoo? Because if it's 10K and you get 50K, that's a great deal.
But that's like a great party story. Oh, check out this tattoo. It's made me this amount of money. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and then people would be like, you should just walk in and be like, oh man, I was at a sleepover the other night. I need to wash this off. It's not coming off.
It's not coming off.
So speaking of what does not come off, tell us about the origin of the early service. How did it get started? How did you become the front man of Church Gear?
So actually, fun fact, Nathan is actually the first host of the early service videos. The very first one was this all-in-one video switching system that we got from a church. And
Still the top video we've ever posted on TikTok.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
9,000 views.
Nathan, why don't you talk about it? And then we did it a couple times, and then that was that. It was on an iPhone. And then the new year came, and we wanted to, one of our goals as the creative team was to make it something weekly. And we were like, oh, the early service is a great way to make content and to feature some really cool pieces of equipment. And so the first week I was like, okay, hey Nathan, just hold up this iPhone and film me. And he was like, no, we have all this super cool video equipment because we're working on some other projects. And then he was just like, let's film a video.
I am very offended as I went through 3 different budget meetings, maybe some tears, maybe not, to get all this fancy equipment. And Ross is like, let's just use our iPhone.
iPhone's just fine. Don't even worry. Whatever. Yeah. And then you get the first early service video with all the microphones of me just riffing about these microphones that we have available for the early service. And it was the most awkward thing in the whole world to film because Nathan and I had known each other for not that long at that point, I don't think.
And now he's your work wife. I mean,
that's right.
Y'all's benches are next to each other.
Yes, we're buddies. We're bench buddies.
Bench buddies.
We work 3 feet away from one another.
Every bench buddy pairing at Church Gear should get T-shirts or something.
It's cute.
So, I mean, I guess, you looked up at me one day and was like, can we start making a weekly video? And I remember thinking because one other person at Church Gear has attempted this and it didn't take off. And so I just thought, you know what? Sure, Ross. And let's see what happens.
We gave it a try.
You blew me away.
And then we did the first one, and it was fine. It was super awkward. And then we kind of settled into some things, and then we did the Valentine's Day video, which was the first one that we were like, okay,
let's use a prop.
Yes,
let's use the company card to buy a box of chocolate.
Yep. And the way that we won, the way that we sold that was, oh, let's just buy a box of chocolates. And then I took out all of the chocolates so that we didn't waste any chocolate. And the whole warehouse got to have some chocolate that day. It's Valentine's Day, whatever. So we got away with buying some chocolate.
There's a joke in there somewhere about now every single week on the early service, we can't just feature burritos and donuts.
Yeah. I need to get my like food game up. I need to get more food for the early service.
Yeah, you need to buy something kind of like $50,
yeah.
$100, and then
steak.
Yeah,
one steak dinner. Like, it was for the early service video. You don't understand.
You take the X32 with you to the steakhouse, and it's just sitting there as you're eating. You're on a date.
Yeah,
there you go.
Just like with the CL5.
Yeah, this is not that implausible.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else you want to tell us about the origin or getting it going?
Yeah, it was like we really settled into something that Valentine's Day. We were like, oh, wow, okay, this is kind of neat. Like, this is funny and engaging and informative about, our stock and our equipment and getting people into what's happening at Church Gear and what's coming down, our process and coming through our warehouse. So that was kind of proof of concept those first couple of weeks.
And now that you're, we'll wrap our intro story on this. Now that you're stuck in the weekly content grind that I've pulled you into,
Mm-hmm.
How many weeks are you like, no, what have I done?
It's every week. I have no clue, like the day of, what we're going to film about. Sometimes I have an idea, like we have an idea bank, and we sometimes pull like the scooter thing. That's
the funny thing. Y'all will tell me all these great ideas, and I'm like, those are amazing. And then you do a different one each week. You rarely pull from it, or at least from that I know of.
Yeah, if I have an idea at the beginning of the week, chances are it's going to change completely.
Has it ever made it to the end of the week if you had it on Monday?
No.
I was going to say.
Never. No, never.
Well, all right. Well, then, Ross, thanks for joining me, and maybe we'll talk about some of those concepts on our next little intro story here for next week.
Let's do it.
And now introducing the production designer for Passion Conferences, Davis Kornegay. Welcome to the show, man.
What's up, guys?
Thank you for joining us here live at FILO.
Yeah, man.
It is was around 9 o'clock in the morning on the first day,
Bright and early.
and I'm like, Blake has had to slap me 3 times so far to wake up.
2 in the face, another slap somewhere else.
I mean, I partied hard until 9:45 last night.
Yeah.
Wow, what an animal.
I know.
You're an animal.
Yep. At my age,
Tame this
Davis.
man.
Yeah.
This
Whew, it's rough.
is why we call him Grandpa Toby.
Grandpa Toby, that's good.
Blake and Dave were partying with the
Flatirons crew.
guys for, when'd you get home? Like 10:30?
11.
11?
Okay.
And then the
Getting up there.
Airbnb we're in happened to have a massage chair. So
Oh, wow.
Yep.
You just like dozed right off.
Yeah.
it's a full body one too. Like,
Oh, wow.
arms, legs, head.
Like in the mall? Like one of those that you go to
Yes,
the mall? Yes.
Yeah, I auditioned it before you got home. It
Did you like it?
was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what's weird though is it kind of clamps around your
Oh.
shins to the point that I had
Okay.
to pull my legs out of it. Like, I thought they were gonna pop.
You're like, yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if I can do this. So it's dangerous.
I know.
Speaking of dangerous things, we got a game to play.
All right.
5 truths and a lie here.
Let's hit it.
And he counted right, because there are actually 6 items on here. So
Well, because he's still, his brain still works. He's still young. Like,
I know he looks very young.
Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah.
what if his lie was his age? Because
Oh,
he
that'd be
already
good.
gave that to us earlier.
Yeah.
That should have been.
All right.
Number 1, started in production in 10th grade, driving trucks.
And now he's in 11th grade, so he's really come a long way.
Number 2, lived in Nashville, Vegas, and Atlanta after dropping out of traditional college to finish online. That tracks. That's what the smart young kids do nowadays.
I mean, the fact that he may have finished is impressive, because
Because he's in 11th grade.
Yes.
Ahead of the curve.
Number 3, designed and programmed lights for multiple stadium events. Okay.
Okay.
I hope some of those were for Taylor Swift.
One
Number
day.
4, I love water sports in the summer. Does this count as a hobby?
I mean, who doesn't love water sports in the summer?
Yeah, and I
Like
think
getting out on the lake and
I just bought some kayaks off Facebook Marketplace. As you taught me, Toby, always
Wow.
buy used.
always
buy used. Yes.
That's right.
Water sports.
Yes.
It's a money pit.
Yeah, I told you not to buy used underwear, but you keep.
Well, what's funny is I bought these kayaks used, and it was like a great deal, and I've spent, I think, literally quadruple more just to get the stuff that it takes to transport them. Number 5, I'm a massive UNC Tar Heels fan. Number 6, I enjoyed the debate when said, I want a Pop-Tart. Is that considered one pack? or one individual pastry?
This is a hot take, so I would love your opinion on this.
I enjoy the debate when I said I want a Pop-Tart. Is that considered one pack or one individual pastry? Okay, I just
Toby,
say
are you
that
young
again.
enough to have a Pop-Tart?
Yeah, say we got out of bed, like you're sitting in the kitchen, like, hey, I say, hey man, do you want a Pop-Tart? Is
Yeah.
that one packet or two individual? Is it one packet, 2 tarts, or just one individual tart out of that
Yeah,
packet?
not to be considered with Hot Pockets, which are a totally different thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a lunch item.
Now, Davis, tell me one famous person that came out of UNC.
Michael Jordan.
There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Now,
The pause.
yesterday, Blake and I were in downtown Chicago,
Okay.
and there were 3 famous faces.
Oprah Winfrey, Bill Murray, and Michael Jackson.
And so I looked at these 3 faces, and I said, Blake, who are these 3 people? And he said, Bill Murray, Oprah, and Michael Jackson.
And I turned around all triumphant.
And I said, say that again. And he did. Bill Murray, Oprah, Michael Jackson. I was like, that one on the end right there. Michael Jackson? He's like, yes.
Look, I knew in my mind it was Michael Jordan.
Oh
I
my
I was
gosh.
slipping.
The
I
wrong
was
J.
slipping.
The wrong J.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. Michael and a J.
So Michael Jordan came out of UNC
Oh, nice.
as well. So
Yep.
Well, how about this,
Michael
Toby?
Jackson did not.
Have,
just so you're
have you
aware.
seen Michael Jordan's full documentary on Netflix? Because I have.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's find his lie here.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, these all could fit for him.
Okay. So I'm just seeing the first one started in production, 10th grade driving trucks. Would anybody in their right mind trust a 10th grader to the production truck
Yeah.
to drive it? But
Well, I don't know.
I mean, that'd be an impressive thing.
You'll stick anybody behind the wheel of a Penske. So
As long as you have a license, it's all you need. Actually, a license and confidence, Blake.
yes,
You forgot that last
Since
part.
we're on mic, confidence is a nicer word than he usually gives on that. I'm gonna say the lie is I'm a massive UNC Tar Heels fan.
Okay. I'm going to say he hates water sports.
I'm not a Tar Heel fan. I don't even follow sports. Period.
Boom.
Wow.
I wish I would. I wish I had I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't
you,
find it interesting.
apparently you follow water sports in the summer.
Hey, yeah.
Okay, so what were the stadium events?
Passion Conference 2020 and 2022.
Nice.
So it's the same event. It was just multiple years.
Multiple years.
Oh, come on. That's a bit of a stretch.
2 different stages, man. 2 different designs. 2 different concepts. 2 different creatives.
This is a man who likes the
guess.
technicality. That's why he
Hey,
wants to.
yes, we're trying to like.
That's true.
We're funneling down here.
Well, no, but I mean, literally, he likes the technicality. Look at his Pop Tarts thing. Like that is as
That's true.
technical as it gets.
Okay, so what is the right answer there?
I think it's the packet. It's a single individual packet in which you acquire 2 things.
Because then you get to eat 2 of them.
Because yes,
I mean, that makes sense. Like Blake sees when you say a bag of white cheddar popcorn, it doesn't matter the size. It's still a bag of white cheddar popcorn. So he'll go to Costco and he'll get a snack of a bag of white cheddar popcorn.
right.
Yeah, like when I say I'm going to eat some popcorn, I don't mean a piece of popcorn. I mean I'm going to eat all the popcorn in the bag. I'm going to turn it up, pop the corner, and drain the kernels into my mouth.
Oh God, just ruin your
Sometimes,
teeth.
like you see the janitors like roll the trash cans through,
Yeah.
like they'll change out the bags. Like that's what Blake will do sometime. He'll roll in his snack of popcorn,
So-
white cheddar
Is
popcorn.
it
in the
skinny
trash
pop?
can.
We calorie counting here?
No,
No, we're
smart
not, okay.
food.
Yeah, smart food. Okay,
Well,
got it.
and I would
Is Blake as
Skinny
you're
pop?
looking at
No.
him? No.
Hey man, well, I don't know what journey you're on.
listen. What's funny about the trash joke is that is my only time that I worked in a church. I took the trash out in high school.
Really?
When Davis was driving those trucks, I was taking the trash out.
Hey, we were doing it, man.
That's right. Yeah, you worked in a church. Just so our millions of listeners know that you did work in a church.
Look, it was a parallel. I was taking out the trash. You know, the stuff people didn't want. Now
Yep.
we're taking out the gear that people don't presently
which
want.
is not garbage.
Oh no.
We don't take out the trash.
Yeah, I couldn't sell the trash, but we can
That's right.
definitely resurrect the gear.
Okay.
So,
So, yeah, you mentioned this Passion Conference. So
Yes.
you designed 2 of the Passion Conferences?
Yeah, so for 2 of the Passion Conferences I did the lighting design for. And then we work with a production designer out of the UK called Nathan Paul Taylor. And he comes up with the large concept. And we also work with a production manager out of there. And the team sort of puts that all together. And it's a good time.
So normally we're talking about Sunday mornings.
Yes.
I assume there's a little bit more planning that goes into a Passion Conference.
Yeah, so this year we're back at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and we just got the initial concepts done. So what is it, May? Yeah, so we just started that. The concepts are starting here, and then we'll start engineering and building out the show for the next, 4 to 6 months.
And when is Passion?
January.
Okay. Blake, have you been to Passion?
I haven't, but I've heard. I really want to go.
I haven't either.
You both need to hit me up before we go. Let's get you some tickets.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Done.
Yes, locked in.
And now it's already recorded, so we can't take it
Yeah,
back.
can I go back now?
Yep.
Yeah, when he says get us tickets, he actually just texts us the link, and then it's time to buy the tickets.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So then what have you learned over the years to kind of make the process, planning it easier, better? Like, what's the biggest production challenges that go into it for you?
Yeah, for me, I think it's such a fun event, and even like Sundays are so incorporated into Passion Conference. You know, I think Passion is really unique in the fact that it has so many different lanes. You have the touring division of Passion Music, you have Passion Conferences, and you also have Passion City Church. And it's really all one big team that sort of comes together and divides up the workload and all those different things. And the way we structure Sundays and Passion Music all funnels to Passion Conference. So we're always building towards something, bettering ourselves, bettering our skills, so that we can have the best event for like all of our attendees. But I think planning is really the crux of it all. Like, how can you plan an event with as much detail as possible on the front end, but allow for so much flexibility on the back end?
So Passion Conference, is it 2 days?
2 to 3 days normally, yep.
And how many, I mean, I know like typically you got Crowder and Tomlin and all the guys. So are you doing like one design, or you having to have like kind of a theme throughout the 2 or 3 days, and then there's a whole bunch of designs?
Yeah,
have to come
so
together?
we come up with an overall production design, so staging, lighting, video, all that kind of stuff. And then we have different art direction and different way we will stage each of the artists. That way they feel unique to themselves, their visual identity, but also the way that they're worshiping is like unique to them. We also wanted to feel like passion in a way. So there's also an underlying thread with fonts and color palettes and things like that, and overall style. So that way it does feel like when an attendee walks into the room, they're at Passion.
And how much like stage time do you have like in between sets to?
Oh, none.
None.
It's all previs. We previs for 2 weeks beforehand, and we get on site, and it's just like freight train. We're moving. There's no rehearsals or anything.
Yeah, how many hours of sleep are you getting?
Oh, like we try to get 4 to 6. We're shooting for that.
That's not bad.
But I don't know. Noah's here today. But him and I have pulled multiple overnighters for like 2 or 3 days for that. So it's fun.
Well, being in the 11th grade, you can.
I got the stamina.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
right.
Well, and that's for Passion Conference. We're currently recording this at FILO's conference. What's the better conference, Davis?
They're different. You know.
Totally different.
Look at that politician answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is not for
18 and 25-year-olds.
yeah, that are just on fire for you know,
Next generation.
an
Follow
incredible
Jesus.
2
Yeah.
or 3 days of just passion.
Worship. Yeah. Honestly.
It's named well.
It is. It is.
Yeah, you see all the social media posts come out of that every time.
Yep.
And it's like, dang, I want to be there.
Yeah. Dude, it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's use the company card and go. I'm saying, like,
Well, we don't need to now. We've got
'Cause we're
Davis.
gonna help you.
well, we got to have a place to stay when we go.
We got Davis
All right, Davis. Apparently, we're
you
gonna
can sleep on my couch. You'll be
Sleep-
good.
for more than 4 to 6 hours.
You can just smuggle us in some of those trash cans we were referencing. You know,
Oh,
just
yeah,
plug
yeah.
us in, roll us in.
Throw you in a row case.
Okay, so let's transition to a Sunday morning at Passion City.
Yes.
Is it just like the conference?
No, completely different. That's the funny thing is like, and you know what people come to church for, what they come to a conference for is completely different. So I think what we really try to do on our team is understand the person walking through our doors. What are they looking to experience when they walk through, and really tapping into that. When it comes to the lighting, how do we light this in a way that makes an environment for people to experience Jesus versus a conference when it's more about these incredible moments. I think for a church, it's more about creating just an atmosphere in which Jesus is present. And then so it's maybe a little less production. I think is a good way to put it. We're not pulling out all the production stops on a Sunday morning, but we're creating a more relaxed environment for, you know, the 18-year-old to the 65-year-old, that it's attainable to all those all the different wide range of people walking through the door.
And are you like lighting designer? Is that kind of your job on Sunday mornings as well?
So we have a couple guys on the team that do all our church locations, and what I basically do is just come up with the overall brand and like identity of what those sets look like and how we're going to use them to best support that atmosphere.
How many campuses?
So 3 in Atlanta and then 1 in DC.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Yes,
3 in
we-
Atlanta and then 1 in DC?
Yes.
That's kind of random. How did that happen?
Yeah, Ben Stewart came from Breakaway in like 2016, 2017, and then they launched, we did a bunch of worship nights in DC and just really felt like God was moving there. And so Ben Stewart planted a church there, and it is incredible. Like when I talk about just a different way to do church, it just is the city is so transient. The people who come in and out are coming for the work on the, politics and all these different things. You have so many different wide range of people, but the people who actually live in DC, what's really cool is like are super young people. And there are a lot of the staffers on the Hill. They're like all these these different. So it's really cool to see just a very different expression of just intellect and worship all come to meet in that city. It's really neat.
Can you save the soul of our nation, Davis, up there? Can y'all do
Yeah,
that?
you know,
Ben
for us?
can. Ben's got it. So if Passion Conference is a 10 on production level,
Yeah.
what's a Sunday morning running then?
I think probably 4 to 5.
Okay.
Yeah, then we have Christmas, Easter, where you're gonna bring it up a little bit, bring up some more special elements. I think church really comes to life when it comes into the programming, less into the production side. So what is worship doing? What are the videos? What are those kind of things? Those are the gears I think exercise a bit more on Sundays than they do.
And so Passion launched with, obviously it's Giglio, but
Yep.
Tomlin and Crowder and Redmond, like they all helped launch that. Mm-hmm. Who's doing music these days? Is it still some of those guys, or is it
Yeah, it's
more
just
like
it's,
local
it's
guys?
a lot of collection of people. We have a lot of local people in Atlanta too that are part of the worship team, and it's just a large group of a collective. I would say. I think collaboration wins. So as much as we can engage in the cities that we're in, and DC is completely local to DC. There's no label, there's no artist. It's just people worshiping Jesus on a Sunday morning. So it's less about the artist, more about just like local engagement and people coming and bringing their talents.
Okay. And do you know the old story of, is it Louie's dad that made the Chick-fil-A logo?
It is, yes.
For
Did
real?
you know about
Yeah.
this?
I did marketing for Chick-fil-A back in the day.
Yeah.
Huh.
His dad designed that logo.
So his dad was really good friends with the founder of Chick-fil-A, and then
Yep.
just
True,
sort of
Kathy.
drew it on a napkin.
Yeah, I think that's how the story goes.
And I don't think he got anything more than maybe $50 or something like that.
I have no clue, but that's wild.
It's kind of like the Nike logo. I think they paid her,
She was an intern at the time.
yeah, like $5 an hour,
This-
$7
Wow.
an hour to
This is
draw
why you-
designs.
That's insane.
You
Yeah.
do nothing on company time because all that intellectual property is owned by them. I have all my best ideas right after I clock out.
You have good ideas?
Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
That was a good one, actually.
Yeah.
So look
So I'm
behind the
paying
curtain
you
right here.
for your
What's left?
subpar
Yeah.
nonsense.
Gotta shift those hours around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm working at night.
Yeah.
So how do you guys stay like when you have the DC one? Are they doing the same design as you guys, or
No, they're
is it-
completely local. Yeah,
Okay.
so they're completely autonomous in like the way that they do church, and the Atlanta locations help out, and we're a resource to them. But they're doing it on their own. They got an incredible
Okay.
team up there
You just said that you keep them all consistent, so I was curious.
in Atlanta. Yes,
You're talking the brand guy
Yes.
over here. So he's wondering, like,
So-
are they following the brand elements?
So they do get branding.
Okay.
The local Atlanta design team does all the branding for them, and we like make sure they have lyrics are the same, that kind of stuff. Overall, like expression. They're in a theater in Atlanta. In DC. That's also like a lot of different events come through there. So on Sunday morning, they're wheeling in like 4 or 5 carts of lights. So it's very fluid. So the design isn't as like refined as it would be in a building in which they own. They could like do something in. So it's just a bit different mentality. Yeah,
It almost sounds like church as a tour, if it's always coming in and out.
it is. Yes, they have a box truck that dumps. Early morning. It's like mobile church. And
Yeah.
they got like a fly pack and like all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And the hurricane that is Jay Desai,
Yes.
is that like
The
just
man, the myth, the legend.
the normal Sunday morning, like Jay Desai the hurricane is sort of like blowing about?
Jay is like he's like pulling it together, man. That man is like he's a unifier, I would say.
Yeah.
He's bringing all the different departments together and making sure that everyone has a voice at the table and is heard. So he's super helpful.
Does he
Nobody
do,
really knows what he does officially, but
Yeah.
nothing happens unless
Without
he's
him,
going to do it.
exactly.
Yeah.
does he do his best work with or without a beer in his hand?
Oh, I don't know.
He started his episode with us by cracking a beer, so that's why I
Yeah,
We
asked.
don't know
sounds
that
right.
he cracked open something.
That's before we were recording.
It could have been kombucha.
Yeah, it's before we were filming. I guess we'll never know.
Okay, so you are teaching here at FILO.
Yes.
What are you teaching about?
We're doing a breakout on picking an LED panel. Basically, like
Just one? Just one
Just
panel?
one panel. No, basically deciding like what does video surfaces look like in your church. There's projection, there's LED wall, there's let's not have any video element on our stage, and how do we like first of all creatively pick that? Like, does having a video element match our creative for our church? We have a church in Atlanta that is in the round. They have 2 IMAX screens and that's it, and no PA. Like it's just like super stripped back, but that's the way they do church, and like do you have to have that to meet with Jesus? And then like once you have that, say yes, no, maybe so, figure out what video surface works for you. Is it an LED wall where you're emitting light and that's a certain tone that you set in the room, or is it a projection where it's a reflection, so it's more softer? Are you feeling that? Are you projecting on a screen, on a set piece, on like what are those different creative levers? And then getting into like, well, if we were to choose an LED panel for this, what does that look like? Size, oh, what do I need a server? Do I need a processor? What does latency look like? Coloring, like all that, and just chatting through all those details. And then how do I know if the price point that I'm being proposed is good? Am I getting ripped off? Am I not? Like, what do I do in those moments, you know?
So what's the right answer?
I think there is no right answer.
Hang on. How do you know if you're getting ripped off or not? That's a question I would want to be asking if I'm picking an LED wall.
Yeah, I think that for me, I think the biggest thing is just engaging in people and community and just being, hey, and like asking. I think there's a lot of people, especially I think even for myself in church world, can end up in a silo a lot of times where you're in your own world, you're sitting at your own desk, and maybe it's just you on a team that's like, hey, how do I find a way to reach out and to build community with people that I can check this stuff with? I think if people were more having conversations at the peer level, people would feel seen and heard, and obviously maybe end up in a healthier spot where they don't feel like they're alone. So
yeah, don't just take the first quote.
No, quote it out.
Yeah.
Ask your friends, like, hey, what did you get yours for? Oh, what did you do this? Oh, what panel do you have? Like, I like having conversation, I think, with friends is super important.
So, Toby, we need to make a page on our website called the Quotes Notes, and everybody can send theirs in and then just log in to compare all these quotes.
There you go. Yep. We'll be Switzerland.
There we go.
You can, compare all the rest of the countries.
That'll
so to
go
speak.
well, yeah.
Look, I love cheese, so that sounds great.
I remember a post in, I think it was Church Sound Media Techs on Facebook, and a guy posted a picture of a Tomlin tour with a huge LED wall behind him and said, how can I replicate this at my church for $10,000? And the comments, I mean, they were trying to be nice because it's a lot of Christian production people, but basically the running theme was, dude, you can't even buy the processor for $10,000.
Right.
You might be able to rent that system for $10,000 on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So what should, churches that really have no frame of reference on what an LED wall, like just stepping into that world costs, like what should they expect so they don't have a heart attack?
Yeah, I think it's tricky, I think what product you get, what mill you get, the size you get is all very fluid. But I think, you're going to look to spend quite a few thousand there, if not more than that.
I was about to say, what is the range?
I think the range could be anywhere from, if you just want to do a lyric banner, you could probably be in the 5 to 10 range. And if you want to do like a massive 40-foot by 60-foot wall, you could be in the couple hundred thousands. So I think, first answering the question, what do I need for my church is the first step going hey, how much money do we have? What do we need? And how can we make this work in the middle,
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people think I have to have these stuff. If I want Jesus to show up in my room, I have to have an LED wall with my worship house. It's well, no, maybe that does work for your room if you're communicating to a large space. Production's how we communicate to large spaces, so maybe that is needed. But also, maybe if you're a small church, with a couple hundred people, maybe that isn't needed, and Jesus will still show up either way. And I think realizing that framework on the front end will go through you won't go through the heartache of the budget not having enough, or feeling like you're less than for not having those cool items.
Yeah, and I think it can be very tempting to come to a conference at Willow Creek and see a huge LED screen and think that'd be amazing at our church.
100%.
Okay, well, add a few zeros, and you're looking at starting in $250,000, $500,000.
100%.
So, just realizing what some of those things actually cost. And if some do you have any hacks of this? You could actually do this as almost like a poor man's LED wall, and it's kind of cool.
Poor man's LED wall. It's innovative man's LED wall.
I think what's so interesting these days, you look in the world of production design, you see what's happening at Coachella, and Stagecoach is happening right now, and you look at just all these different tours going out, and people are really using LED walls less of a focal point. It's really support to the scenic that's happening also on the stage. So I think we passionately doing a lot of sets with scenic stuff and just projecting on it, and projectors are maybe a little bit more cost affordable in the mid-range, that you can still get an incredible look on your stage that is super forward visually, very creative, and is an expression that's maybe different than a massive LED wall with content on it that looks maybe even better than that would look.
Yeah.
So I think exploring the different creative levers is probably a better alternative than trying to do something or the Jimmy rig something,
Yeah.
That's really genius. Also, we sell projectors, so that's convenient.
Yeah,
There you go.
It's amazing. We'll get 20K projectors from large churches that went to an LED wall system, and those were $100,000.
Oh my God,
10 years ago.
And you can do so much with it, with literally passion. We just took some of them down because we replaced it, got an LED on our stage. But like, I'm like, let's not throw those away. Like, we can use those for scenic. Like, we can find a way to use it in our lobby. We like project on our wall now for some events. It's like, hey, what if we had this sculpture with like all these different columns and pillars. Like, let's 3D projection map that. We have these projectors in the back that we bought 10 years ago, but the lamps are still great and the video, like, they work. So like, let's do something creative.
Yeah, what a 20K projector can do is a large LED package.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it looks good.
Yeah,
1080, okay, that's still fine.
And you're talking like a tenth of the price right now.
100%, and it's creative and it's visually interesting.
Yeah.
The person who comes in is going to go, oh, that's different. That's not just a flat wall in the back or a back wall. Like, I see wall. I have a phone. That's a black wall. You know, but I'm seeing something visually interesting. It's different. Like, I'm engaged in a different way, and that's something we want people to experience.
churchgear.com/projectors.
Okay, this did not turn into an
He's got
ad.
20K.
So then, one philosophical question for
Yeah,
you,
man.
because it sounds like you're not saying everyone needs an LED wall. Here's how we get there. It sounds like you're starting with, do you need it or do you not?
Yeah.
Other than budget, because I'm assuming budget plays a huge factor into it. Let's just say philosophically, how do you see a church and go, yes, you should get one, and then what's a time where you'd be like, no, you should actually not?
Yeah, I
Like
think
philosophically,
I think understanding the tone of your leadership and pastoral, like, I think that's super important. Like, how does your pastor communicate in the room? Is it, I think tone is such a big thing. I think visual expression really comes down to tone in a lot of way. Lighting is just amplifying the tone of the room. Set is amplifying the tone where you're creating an atmosphere in which that person is going to be speaking the gospel. So how does what you do create a safe space and an elevating space that isn't distracting but ultimately elevates that message? So if the pastor is super soft spoken or the worship is also very acoustic on a week to week basis, like maybe an LED wall isn't, but maybe something more scenic, soft that matches that tone. I think visual unity is super important. Your music matching your lighting, matching the tone of your pastor, matching the iMag on the side screens. Like, it all needs to be cohesive to create a unified experience. If any one of those things is coming to the forefront, I think there may be something wrong that we want to readjust. Does that make sense?
It does. I like that as tone and keeping the visual thematic consistency.
Yeah.
And I know, one thing I'm huge on, I've heard pastors talk about, is not distracting. Things that are distracting. And so the church I'm at, they have a huge LED system, and it looks great during worship. They put the lyrics up there. They put
the backgrounds are going. Yeah.
But then they do iMag, and there's a solid delay, and that is unbelievably distracting.
Oh, yeah. It's the hardest thing to overcome.
And so for them to overcome that, I'm pretty sure they said, like, we'd need a new LED wall that is much faster processing. But you're talking probably $500,000 for the size they have. So,
Gracious.
We got to start thinking critically about those decisions. Is that worth the price, or do we not do iMag? Do we put up some projectors for iMag specifically? And
yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, even the video system plays such a big part of that. We built a building at Passion State Church, Cumberland, and when we first launched the building, the latency was insane, like 4 to 5 frames. Like, it was just like da-doom, 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 and it was just, and we were straight to the video process. We just realized there's a bunch of frame sync issues. So I think just like, and it just like comes down. There's all these little things with video that like you just don't know until you get it in there. So it's like, it's tricky for sure. So no, I definitely agree. Like, latency is like, it's
the latency and delay. That's Justin Timberlake's fault, right? We've all had to do a delay after that Super Bowl halftime.
I was gonna make a joke about the latency between your brain and your mouth.
Oh,
there's always a delay.
I actually,
which is first is the question.
My brain gets reports on what did I say? Oh
okay,
no! No!
Because usually I'm quicker to the joke, and then Blake will be like, he's like, dang it, Toby, you got it there first.
Yeah, until we didn't start filming the podcast till recently, but there was so many times I'm punching him because I'm just like, no, you took the joke.
Even at my advanced age, Blake, I still get there first.
But yes, and now you Bruce easier too. Okay, you like a hot take. We talked about the Pop-Tart stuff. We talk about not being distracting.
Yes.
This is a little bit of a bunny trail, but I'm always fascinated to hear people's take on should the displays on each side during worship, should they have the band on them, or should it just be the lyrics? Because a lot of times it's the band with the lyrics.
So basically iMag or background?
Yes.
Yeah. I love iMag. I think, the purpose of iMag, is it's for the people in the back of the room. They will, because like especially in worship, it's all like we're talking about tone. We're talking about we're seeing a worship leader's experience with Jesus being translated in that room. They're speaking over the room. They're speaking life over this room, and that's all happening in like their human person, their face. And I want to see that. If I'm in the back of the room, that's part of their ministry. And I think image magnification and worship is so important. I think it really is the pinnacle of it. I think we try to make sure that we're getting the worship leaders more than the band, because I want to see I want to see what they're experiencing, and like they're leading me in that way, and seeing their face, their eyes, the way like seeing what's happening in their heart is all happening on their face and in their eyes, like, and that's ministry. So I think that's super important.
Whoa, this is the first time I've ever come off of my side of that take then, because I'm a straight like lyrics, nothing else on the screen guy. But because I don't need to see, the kick drum hitting.
Yeah.
But seeing that person's face, if you can't, like, and having that communal worship experience, I see that point.
And also, I'm going to judge a bit because I sit up front, and I think good Christians sit up front. So, those Christians that feel more comfortable in the back, okay, I get it. Like, you can't see as well.
Yeah.
IMAG helps.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, you have people who sit in the back of the room who are the people who are least likely to be in church. They're there just because maybe they felt like they wanted to show up that week. They had a tough experience, and like, hey, like maybe Jesus will meet me here. And I have a lot of friends right now who are just like, hey, if I just go, maybe Jesus will meet me. And so they sit in the back because they're like, hey, like I don't want to be seen by the pastor. I don't want to be seen by anybody. But they can still see, and they can still experience what's happening in their hearts.
Have you ever had to make latency work in a situation like that where you're going to put the band on IMAG?
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, we're going to have to do some creative shoots so that, the syncing isn't quite the issue.
Yeah, so when we get to Passion Conference, if you go to the front of the room, you're right with the PA, and the IMAG, it's like locked. You go to the back of the room, you're 20 frames. Like it's low. Like audio video delay is massive. So it's finding how do you like find that balance, and even in just like your delay screens and things like that. But I think in those environments it doesn't become such of an issue. I think heart is still translated. So I think you're good.
I'm wondering if your brain's getting that reality. So if you're up front, the PA and the video is right there. And obviously light and sound move at very different rates. So if you get all the way back to the auditorium, the sound comes at you much later than the video does.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So it's like to-doom. It's like it can become massive.
So the bigger the room is, the more challenge it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That is tough.
It's tough.
This also is a fascinating discussion, because it almost sounds like you could divide the room up into two groups, like two groups at serving. You got, 85% that it's from the front back that are the regular attendees, and that back 15 are people putting their toe in the water.
Yeah.
So
how do you reach all those people when you walk in the room? It's like that's the thing. That's the challenge of church production. It's like we're the megaphone. Like production, like I heard a friend say this once. He goes, "That is the medium through which we communicate to large people, like the large amount of people in our time." Back in the day, Roman Colosseum, it was like the Colosseum. You have all these different things throughout time and history that have been how we communicate to people at large scale. And production's the medium through which we do that nowadays. Which is why in church it's so crucial, because it's life and death. Like it's just like at the end of the day, that's what it is, and that's why it's so important. So doing conferences like FILO, like it's a big deal. Like it's
and
a
now
big deal.
going back to the church you mentioned in Atlanta that does church in the round with just a couple IMAG, you actually bring everybody in
right
closer.
there. And they don't have any of that.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy.
yeah, you say it's life or death. It's even bigger.
It's almost
heaven
like
or hell.
production people have a lot to think about and do.
They do. The calling is so great. And I think people think sometimes it's just about the cool stuff that we get to play with and all this, but so much hangs in the balance. And I think conferences like this are so great because we're equipping people and helping people. And I think in finding community and best way to reach people through our medium.
Well, and when you see the trolls on different social media platforms be like, do we need all of this, whatever this is, whether it's the new toy, the new lighting, the new whatever. What were we talking about on the drive up, Toby? How everyone's got the attention span of a goldfish?
Oh my God, 15 seconds.
Oh,
oh no.
That's right. But we were talking about how people have the attention span of a goldfish. We need the production to draw people in, to be the visual interest.
So actually our attention span, I learned this in church last Sunday.
You went to church? Good job,
I
Toby.
did. They said our attention span as humans is now down to 8 seconds.
Wow.
And a goldfish is 9.
That's insane.
Goldfish are beating us.
So we now, with those goldfish attention spans, have got to do some visual image or interest to
Yeah.
Of
people.
course, as I'm thinking about, how often do I sit in my bed and just, scroll little reels and stuff that 2 seconds I'm like, nope, not interested. Nope, Nope. Like,
Yeah.
I'm part of the problem.
I had put a limit on my phone for Instagram. I was like, I got 1 hour a day. That's it. I'm done.
Oh, you can do that?
Yeah, you should check it out.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
See, my job is social media though, so I'm just working. I'm not wasting time.
Yeah, you're not scrolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you just admitted that the worst part of your ideas are during your job hours. So
That's true. I don't know where to take that.
speaking of disasters, Blake, I feel like some of our favorite and
Not
best
some, it's my
disaster
favorite.
stories on this podcast come from the Passion Conference. But,
No.
do you
Yeah.
have any good disaster stories, either from Passion
Yeah,
Conference
yeah.
or just other?
I think, yeah, I don't know. That's a good one. I think the biggest disaster moment in so far that I've experienced is at Passion Conference. We were loading in, and so if you're in the Mercedes-Benz, you can't hang anything from the roof. So it's all ground supported with these towers.
Yeah.
So we get there first day, like we're rocking and rolling, towers are going up, we're rocking and rolling, great. We're like, LED wall should be going up overnight. Cool. See you tomorrow. Come back the next day. We're in the exact same position. I'm like, what has happened? Because like you have to load this whole thing in a day now. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. The towers were actually assembled upside down.
Oh,
So like you like
Whoopsie.
the pins didn't line up when you get 60 feet up in the air. It's like so the guy's like, yeah, we haven't really done this since like U2 or Beyonce before COVID. So like, we just sort of forgot. So it's like, okay, that's great. So got that up, and then we got the LED wall going, and then the LED wall's not working. We got the doors, the LED wall is not working. Half the rig is not assembled. There's like pixels out. There's like a green strip on the side. And attendees are in the room, and you haven't checked content lighting or anything. You get into the first session, all the servers crash.
oh,
And we have like, one of the speakers is speaking, and it's just like she's like frozen, and it's just like you just put your head down. It's just like 60,000 people. There's a frozen girl on the screen, and the LED all doesn't work.
yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
What do we do again? Just sit here? Like, it's just like a oh no moment. And you just go like, we are where we are. How do we keep moving? Reboot. And it was in the middle of COVID. Like, two of our team got COVID during that. Like, audio leak came out. It was just like a stack of things that just like, that's not as much drama as you probably wanted. But like, I don't have anything
No, that's a pretty
exploding
good
or like
one.
on fire.
Yeah.
But
No, just
That's
that's your excuse. It's the COVID cover. It's like,
yeah,
well,
exactly.
I think assembling the towers upside down is a pretty good disaster.
Yeah. And you have these cranes that move them into place. So it's not like you can just crawl up there and
Yeah.
like,
This isn't
oh.
your Lego set.
right. No, it's like, okay, we got a 60-foot tower. We got
So if someone hadn't caught that, was that going to fall and kill somebody?
oh, no. Like it doesn't go together unless it goes together right.
Okay.
So yeah,
okay.
we were good.
That's a good manufacturer philosophy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we were just, I don't remember the church, but somebody said, yeah, they put up a new PA, and then they showed up Sunday morning, and one of the line arrays was just laying on the stage. It had fallen.
Oh, that's like a dream scenario. Like you like dream it and you go to church the next day. You're like, please, please, everything
Yep.
be in the air. Oh no, it's not. Like,
Yeah.
So did it destroy the stage when it fell? I mean, that's
I don't
was there
know
a hole
much
in
more
the
of the
ground?
story. Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Like, what do you
was
do?
Quentin Kelly underneath it?
Yeah, I hope not.
Do you cancel church? Like, what do you do?
Oh my goodness. Well, Davis, you've got all these years of wisdom in you, even at the ripe age of 11th
17.
grade.
17, yeah, 17.
We love to wrap all our episodes on a tech takeaway. This
Yeah.
is like your unique piece of advice that you would tell the church tech directors. If, for instance, you were in a room at FILO and they were all happen to be gathered, that'd make their Sundays better, whether it's philosophical, technical, relational, something like that. The more random and specific, the better.
That's good. Yeah, more random.
Because everyone has their
yeah.
standard list.
I would say it's easy to cash it in. I think it's easy to show up every week. The stage is set. You got the stuff programmed. It's like good. But I think what people are looking for, speaking back to the attention span thing, is like we have to be on our toes and like just don't show up every week with something new, fresh, creative. Even if it's the smallest thing, if it brings slight more interest, I think we're able to engage people more through our medium and through what we do. Just don't cash it in. The stakes are too high.
Cash it in. Phone it in? Is that
Phone it in?
Is that a synonym phrase?
Synonym? Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
Okay, don't phone it in.
Don't phone it in.
I
show,
love to-
show up. Like let's all show up each week
Yes.
and realize like we're doing this.
I was going to say, I love cashing in. That means I've had a good night at the...
Yeah, that's cash out.
That's cash out.
That's not cash out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
all I do is cash in, I guess, because I lose so much. There we go.
Uh-oh.
You got it. You got
Stop
it.
going to Starbucks.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, we really appreciate you taking the
Yeah,
time to
of
join us here at
course.
FILO.
Yeah, dude.
All
We'll be
right.
hanging out all week.
Is there anything you
2
would
days?
like to plug?
Plug. I don't know. What does that
Do
mean?
you want people to find you online? Do you
Oh
have
yeah,
any,
yeah. Hey, if you like need anything, like hit me up on Instagram. It's just at Davis Kornegay. I'm like, if you just want to chat, like anything, like I'm like, hey, let's just do it.
If you want to discuss, Pop-Tarts,
whether
it's 1 or 2.
Hershey's, I love candy.
You can send him your quotes that you've gotten in for your LED walls, and he'll tell you if they are garbage or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about this, I think vendors and distributors don't like that too much. But, I think, hey, price transparency is important.
Uh-huh.
What was those old magazine series where it'd be like Ask Barbara or something? Like
Oh
it
my
was an
gosh.
anonymous submission thing. It's like Ask Davis for quotes.
That's
Hey.
not so anonymous, though.
Yeah, we'll have to rename you for that.
It's a small world, church productions. It's a small world, but it feels sort of distant sometimes. We don't all know each other, but we should. So, yeah.
We'll just switch him from Davis Kornegay to David Kornegay.
How about we call him the kid?
Yeah.
Kid,
Yeah.
with capital K.
Yeah. And then everybody's be like, you talking about Davis?
17.
Yeah.
Thriving. He just got his license, my
Instead
guy.
of-
He is strolling down the street.
Instead
They
of
gave me
the-
a Tesla at the car dealership. They're like, the Hertz. They're like, hey, man, we got a free upgrade for you. Have a Tesla. I was like, I don't know how to start this thing. I got in and I was like, what?
Did you get it?
Yeah. Sit outside.
Dang.
We're going to do wheelies to the parking lot later.
Man.
Okay,
Go.
so I'm getting in the trunk for that.
Yeah, just automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yep.
Well, cool. Well, man, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, of course, guys. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We hope to see you back next week for more absurd stories, tech takeaways, and overall buffoonery here at the Church Gear Studios.
Blake, I'm seeing so many friends walking by, and it's so fun because I feel like I think we've actually met 3 of our podcast guests in person that
Yep.
we had only seen via Zoom. And so it's like, we're making old friends, new friends at the same time right now.
Yeah, and you know what? I would love to have even more new friends, old and new friends.
I mean, you need friends in general.
It's getting real lonely over here.
Especially with how many times you've been fired.
Yeah, I don't think I've got any left. So if you'd like to text this episode to a buddy, be like, hey, I hear you were phoning it in last week. I want to give
But
you,
now it's time to cash it in.
I want to give you a word of encouragement. Just text it to a buddy that would need it.
And then hashtag fire Blake.
No. Okay.